Welcome back to Hello Rose City. As we head into 2026, many people are setting health-focused New Year's resolutions. Today, we're talking with Dr. Tom Jean from the Oregon Health Authority about their Rethink the Drink initiative, how excessive alcohol use affects our communities, and ways we can support each other to drink less this year. Welcome, Dr. Jean.
Thanks, great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So tell me a little bit more about Rethink the Drink campaign.
So Rethink the Drink is an OHA initiative. It's really trying to raise awareness of the health effects of excessive alcohol use and encouraging people to have conversations about how alcohol may be affecting them, their families, and communities. For many people, alcohol is something they use in social situations, with a drink with a meal. I like a glass of wine or a beer with friends. But for many people, they're crossing the line into drinking too much, and they may not realize it. So we're really trying to highlight some of the dangers of excessive drinking. And now is a great time to do this. We're at the start of a new year. People are thinking about New Year's resolutions, maybe considering dry January. So we really want to encourage those conversations.
Sure. And help us define what excessive alcohol use means.
Right, so excessive alcohol use includes underage drinking, of course, drinking during pregnancy, but what we're also really focusing on right now is binge drinking and heavy drinking. So binge drinking is defined as 5 or more drinks on one occasion for a man, or 4 or more drinks for a woman. And heavy drinking is 15 or more drinks per week for a man, or 8 or more drinks per week for a woman. And it doesn't really matter if those are consumed, in a day or two or across that week. There are long-term health impacts either way.
Yeah, and you did mention underage drinking, of course, but this isn't just young people. Maybe we think college kids who are binge drinking, but this does happen for people of all ages.
Yeah, actually middle-aged people in their 30s and 40s are one of the biggest groups who are binge drinking. And most of those people who are drinking excessively don't have alcoholism or an alcohol use disorder.
Tell us about the health harms caused by excessive alcohol use.
Yeah, so I think people are familiar with liver problems and alcoholism, and of course, the dangers of getting behind the wheel when they're drinking, so injury. But alcohol is actually pretty conclusively tied to many different conditions: cancers, multiple cancers, heart disease, depression, anxiety, and mental health issues, as well as violence. There are 7 or 8 cancers that are now pretty clearly linked, including mouth cancer, throat cancer, liver cancer, and colon cancer.
Wow.
And even breast cancer has been linked to increased risk even with just a small amount of alcohol. And then finally, there's also the risk of alcohol use disorder, developing that if you're drinking heavily.
So what are things we can do to keep our communities safe when it comes to alcohol use?
Right, well, obviously not drinking and driving is really important. So not drinking in the first place is a great idea, but if you are going to drink, have a designated driver or a ride share or taxi to get home. That's really important because alcohol affects judgment, it slows down reaction time, and that's just so dangerous for the community and for yourself.
Yeah, and what kind of data do we have about excessive alcohol use in Oregon? What are the numbers here?
Yeah, it's actually one of the leading causes of preventable death in the state. More than 2,500 deaths every year in Oregon are attributed to alcohol. So that includes those some of those cancers that I mentioned, as well as motor vehicle crashes and violence. So it's a big factor. We also have over 20% of adults in Oregon are drinking excessively. So it's a real major issue. So
let's get practical. What are your tips to help people drink less this year, or maybe support others who want to drink less? What kind of suggestions do you have? Yeah, so if you're not drinking at all, that's a great option. There's so many non-alcoholic alternatives out there, whether it's non-alcoholic beer, wine, spirits. If you are going to drink, really setting a limit for yourself, being committed, and maybe telling a friend to stick to that limit is key. Managing your triggers. If there are people, places, or activities that tempt you to drink more, try to manage those or limit those, and that will help. And then find support from family, friends, or a healthcare provider who can help you, support you in your efforts to drink less. And I really like this other suggestion you have: avoid asking people why they aren't drinking. It used to be very uncool. You'd get very self-conscious if you went to a bar and just ordered a soda or something. Yes. And so it is important to it's none of your business, but also it is becoming more common to order a non-alcoholic beverage.
Absolutely. It's a lot more common, and that's a great thing. And if you are hosting an event or maybe watching the Ducks game, providing non-alcoholic options is a great idea, and don't pressure people to drink alcohol.
Yeah, well, you've given us a lot to think about, a lot of good information. So where can people learn more?
Yeah, we have our website, rethinkthedrink.com. We have great resources and information on that website.
Yes, and it's right there on your screen. We have about 30 seconds left. Anything else you want to add, or something else that you think is really important to get across?
Yeah, I think the most important thing that I can repeat is that no matter what level you're drinking at, if you drink less, you're going to improve your health.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much for coming. Really great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.